items 3, site inspections progress report. As Bob and I stated, I sent out the post-inspection letters to everyone stating that the changes are going to be taking place on this next bill coming up. A big part of that was getting that resolution passed today for the site inspections that had to deal with the water. So condos and things like that, we can now start getting the costs for each one of those condos. So that's a huge monumental thing for the district. On a personal note, I've been here since 2016, and so putting these packets together after I figured all this stuff out, this has been something that I recognized, and so yeah, that graduation music as I walked, even though it sounds super nerdy, was a monumental.
Well, it's important you have the resolution to support it.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah.
But
So you need the Rocky.
there's definitely more to do.
I needed something. I had to do something.
That running up the hill,
Yeah.
Rocky, and made it.
So we are on the Group 2 inspection now. I have already sent out the letters telling them that I will be coming around to inspect their property. Of course, I've experienced some pushbacks and people freaking out. And I feel like I've settled them all down. They understand more about what's going on.
What's the difference between group 1 and group 2?
It's just like taking sections at a time. The first one was all of our commercial accounts, known accounts, things that we already knew about and knew that we needed to do something. And that was just our stepping off point. It was like, okay, how do you eat an elephant? This is what we know right now. This is what we're going to do. Then in the middle of that, I like to joke with Clint because Clint hasn't figured out how to work with his eyes closed yet. He discovered, well, we have dormant accounts in here. Why are they dormant? And it was like, oh, that sounds like it's going to be on Group 2. So we compiled that list, and anybody else who we've become aware of in the meantime, they've now all become part of Group 2. I did do a small section of the neighborhood because our next plan after that is everyone that we know is just going block by block and picking sections of it.
Is there a group 3?
There's definitely going to be a Group 3, and a Group 4, and a 5, and a 6, and a 7. So part of Group 1 was all of our known dormants, things like that, and then I picked, let me load, I picked this street. So let's see if we can.
First street.
Yep. And then that, so each one of these accounts, plus this one right here, because these address, both of them actually, yeah, so even though they're across the street, they technically have an East First Street address, as well as our straggler up here, who ties down to First as well. So everyone on this side plus that side and this one and that account over here got their letter that I will be coming by to do a site inspection. So
I got my letter in the mail yesterday.
yeah, I'll be coming by.
Inspect for water and sewer? Just
For water and sewer, it's a site inspection, basically just seeing what you have on the property. If you have an outbuilding or a shed, I take a quick look in there to make sure that you don't have dwelling up there, yeah, something like that.
Mother-in-law
Yeah.
situation.
You know, it's a really uncomfortable situation for Bob and I when we're like, oh, is that a shed? And they're like, yeah, there's nothing in there.
It's
I'm
an old
like,
outhouse.
I'm gonna need to see it. So, what? You were pointing at me.
No.
Oh, so yeah, that's always a really fun one. But then I do the peek in. Yep, I can see all 4 walls. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much. So, then after that, I believe, because along with just this street right here was a lot of our dormant accounts, which is why I picked such a small group for the block section. I believe after that I'll probably do this one, and this one, and that'll become my Group 3. And then I'll just...
What is dormant?
Accounts that became inactive for various reasons. It appears some of them are like Cape Horn fires that happened when their house
Not
burned
there.
down. No, not in this section. No.
What there?
Yeah, none of these ones were dormant
Oh, I
ones.
think you
I
said
just
they
picked
were
a
dormant.
section.
Oh.
No, I picked dormant ones and then a section. So yeah, we have a long list of various reasons of why they went dormant. Some of them were, like we have a house, just to give you an example, they said, well, it's inhabitable. Nobody can live in this house. It's, you know, the walls are falling down and da da da. And so in the past, operators went there and they verified it and they said, oh yeah, nobody can live here. Well, that's not how this works. You have a meter to the property and we require, just like anyone who leaves for the winter time, and they say, well, I'm not using it. And we say, you have infrastructure, you know, we have infrastructure to pay for. So those were things that went directly against the resolution. So now I'm just going around saying, yep, you still have a meter on this property, and I'm sorry, you can no longer be dormant. I know that we were recognized like this, but according to our resolutions, which have been long-standing, this now goes back into active status. So we just have to do our due diligence, make sure that we treat everyone fairly, everyone gets a site inspection, everyone,
So every dormant account will now be paying?
all dormant accounts will now be paying.
Even if they don't have a house?
Even if they don't have a house, if they have a meter to it. We have only one account so far that an account went dormant. Well, we also have other accounts that they were dormant because they had just a sewer connection and then they later got a water connection. And instead of changing the account number, they created another account and made that one dormant. So that was a reconciliation nightmare. So those ones I've now truly made dormant accounts and everyone got a TBD. So now I have account numbers that I can fill up with new incoming people. They're a to be determined account and I'll fill those up. And then everyone else, like, I forgot what I was gonna say. You have a question?
Yeah, so you had a trailer, and they were paying water and sewer, then they moved the trailer away, trailer's
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
They
They
sti-
have truly
do-
one
that's-
account where they removed the meter off the parcel because they bought two parcels. They were wealthier. They bought two parcels, they wanted a really big lot, and they said, remove that meter. So they paid to have the meter removed, and then boom, that one actually truly went dormant because it's one less connection into our account. So, and that's really the only way that you can make an account dormant, is by removing the infrastructure that is to your property that you could utilize at any point in time.
But the sewer is still there, you don't remove the sewer.
This account didn't have sewer associated with it, so I haven't encountered a situation.
Well, the one on 4th Street, his name is Paul Stewart, I think. He just demolished the trailer next to him on that lot. And obviously it's sewer, people lived in there for years, and now the trailer's gone. So does he keep paying for sewer and water on that lot? The trailer's gone. What's his
The
name?
water's not with Bayview, it's somebody else.
That's right, he's correct. But cats, do they pay for sewer though, Cooch?
Well, I believe that
Just-
if he has one house that is, I
Yeah,
assume
one
tied to
house.
the sewer, and if he demolishes one, then they're still only using one tank, which means one ER service is only being used.
So he won't, as soon as the house trailer got demolished, he doesn't have to pay anymore for sewer.
I would assume that tank is ceased use, which means that
Yeah,
the system
I would
is
agree
ceased
with that.
use.
I'm
Yeah.
just asking.
So yes, in that case, that would be.
Right, that would be one where he doesn't have to pay anymore.
Correct.
Right.
But he can't put anything there and use it again? Or does he still own the ER?
Yeah, he still owns,
He gets the ER still.
so he could build a
Yeah.
new something there,
Yep.
because he still has the ER.
You assume the ER connection.
Right.
But you don't have the charge if it's not being used. He just has it available to him at a later point in time, and then once he decides to actually
I
use
thought
it,
we
then.
wanted to charge all ERs.
Huh?
I thought we wanted to charge all of them, even
It-
if they're
that's-
being used. If they're hooked up to our system, and we're paying, and.
There's
Yeah.
nothing hooked up, but there's nothing hooked up here.
Yeah, because he ceased the use to it.
The building's gone.
We wouldn't have to recap, I assume we have cap fees to join.
Yeah. Oh, I like that you brought that up. Okay, so I posed the question to Bob, and I said, okay, so. I guess, I don't wanna divulge people's business, but, okay, so Lakeland RV Park, just so I can have a real conversation. Lakeland RV Park, over on their usage. So we've said, okay, they have to cease the use. She says, well, that's not a big problem because I have RV pads that no longer are big enough to accommodate the RV sizes that people have. What can we do without charging, like making her remove, because she says, well, I now use the pads for people to park in, they become parking spots. But there are still sewer stub outs to them. So what can we do to work with our customers to ensure that that stub out will never be used without incurring the cost of digging up infrastructure out of the ground? Or are we going to require digging up infrastructure out of the ground? Because this will have to go across the board to everyone.
Now, she doesn't have a septic tank for every RV.
No, they all use one. So, the question is, what can be done to make sure that there's no sneaky usage being incurred
Well, there's no way to monitor that.
without removing infrastructure? I don't know, because I'm not an operator and I don't do these things.
Cooch,
Can you cap it? I don't know. Cap it, lock it, cap it?
Cooch can't be expected to keep an eye on that.
No.
So infrastructure removal.
It's a good question, though.
I think there was only 5 of them, wasn't there? There wasn't that many.
4.
4, yeah, I just say, I remember her talking about it.
Put a box over it and lock it.
Or concrete.
They, I don't know, that is a different situation, you know, like the float homes don't have, you know, they don't have individual septic tanks. Gary's doesn't have the individual septic tank. I don't know, but the float homes, I mean, they have to have an RV, I mean, they have to have a ER, 7/10 of an ER for the sewer.
But like, I know we have another situation over at the old liquor store, or old Remy's Bait and Tackle or whatever, where they have 2 stub outs, and they should only be authorized 1 as well. So, yeah, like, I don't know, like, you're,
And they were both used for the last 5 years, the two
Yeah.
stub outs.
but they're just no longer being used. So yeah, they were a little late on that one for getting the income, but what are you gonna do? Can't go back in time.
But that's a
But-
good example of having to be cemented.
Well,
Yeah,
That's an excellent example.
Decommissioned somehow.
yeah, it needs to be decommissioned somehow.
Another job for Cooch.
Yeah,
Concrete out.
No, I don't.
yeah, too bad we can't pour concrete down the lines without getting into our system, obviously, but something along those lines, like how just, the only way around it is just infrastructure removal, digging up ground and,
I don't know if you need to dig everything up, but some kind of assurance that it can't be used
Yeah.
easily.
so that's what I need, cause I gotta get back to some people on this. Because we have people who are willing to work with us and I want to work with them in return.
And I would like to, I mean, and of course,